What's up, everybody? I'm Scott,
I'm Jason.
and you are listening to Liquid Carnage. What's up, buddy?
Oh, nothing, man. Nothing. How are you doing?
Oh, man, I tell you what, it is a new week. We were promised a rainstorm. I know we're not supposed to talk about the weather, but I got so excited that we were going to get a rainstorm, and we don't have shit.
Well, I have to give some props out to our executive producer because he talked in his notes for last week's episode of Work the Passion. He said it was a good show. It was a nice conversation. Everything flowed real well. And it was one of our better shows over the last few. I mean, it had a really good response for the first week. So,
well, that's good. I got to talking to Tom, our EP, after the show, and as I talked about last week, I do have a passion and a dream of having my own food truck someday. Something that wasn't even an idea way back when I went to college, and like you're starting to write, I started looking at possibilities into starting a smaller catering company on the side with an actual trailer or possibly a truck down the road.
There we go. And I've written 2 chapters now in a book.
See? So,
yeah.
Have you titled your book yet?
I'm not sure. I have a couple ideas I'm toying with, but I haven't really narrowed one down yet.
That's a good start, though. I mean, write the book, and it will name itself after a certain point, you know?
That's true.
Oh, man. I will tell you, I've had this idea in the back of my head for a long time for a food truck, so I am prepared to call mine the Salty Walrus Tapas Kitchen. So that's the name of my company. That's the name of my food truck.
Wow. Okay, that's good. I love it.
Yes.
I love it. That's going to be awesome.
So I am calling dibs. I am having our graphic guy at work actually work on a logo for me because you have to have a cool logo if you're calling yourself the Salty Walrus. And let's be honest, I am salty, and you can't mistake me for a walrus because I'm not that big, but I'm still a big guy.
Well, and let's just be honest. I mean, you don't have the fangs.
No.
I mean, you need fangs if you're going to be a walrus.
Yeah, cuckoo, because I can't even grow a mustache that well with it.
Yeah. No. I figured that between saving people's lives with the winter survival and then working the passion, we've had a couple really good weeks on the popularity of Liquid Carnage. So I'm feeling like we're hitting our groove again.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's our stride. We're finding the stuff that we like to talk about, and that translates. I really enjoy getting those reviews from people that say, hey, it sounded like you guys were in a bar and you were hanging out just talking to each other. That, to me, says that we're doing good work and we have that natural chemistry, which, as most people know us, when they see us together, we do have that natural chemistry.
We do. We absolutely do. And we could sit and talk for hours at a bar.
Yeah. And we only want to choke each other out randomly on those events, too.
No, usually it only comes down to when it comes to music or, like, very rarely do we have any topics that really, like, are argument worthy.
Yeah, that's true.
And music is one of them.
Yeah. No, I'll go with you on that one. But I want you to tell us, do you argue with your best friends? What do you argue about? What's the biggest argument you've had with your best friends? And was it over something stupid? Hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, all at Liquid Carnage. If you want to pick a fight with Tom, our EP, it's not hard to do. Hit him up on Twitter and Instagram, all at Liquid_EP.
Wow, that was a perfect plug. Last week you got a ding for not having a perfect plug.
I know.
That was perfect.
I made it up at the end, though, so I want to say it's one of my talents.
Oh, well, that's good that you asked that because I am a fan of the America's Got Talent, and I got to thinking,
yes.
what would be your talent? Because there's a lot of people that get on the show. Some of them have real talent, and other people basically get bonged. They get kicked off. Do you have a talent that you would be willing to go on to a show like that for?
Oh, absolutely. I can judge the shit out of people.
I wonder how you would.
I could look at you and judge you before you say a word. And
That's
I will
true.
Be almost spot on about 75% of the time.
Yeah, some of the magicians try to read the minds of the judges, but you would just judge the judges.
Yes, I would judge the judges. I would. Who are the judges?
The Howie Mandel.
Okay, easy.
Gabrielle Union.
Oh, she's hot.
Juliana Huff.
I don't know who that is.
You would. She was Dancing with the Stars.
Still don't know who that is.
She married a hockey player.
All I know is Carrie Underwood married a hockey player.
Yeah, then she married She married someone else.
All right. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, if they're on a reality show for the most part these days, I don't know who the hell they are, and I really don't care who they are.
Well, okay, Google Julianne Hough. She's a very attractive girl.
I will check her out.
She's right in your wheelhouse, man. She's that 104 pound, 5 foot nothing wheelhouse, man. She's perfect. And then Simon Cowell.
Okay, well, that's easy enough.
Okay, so you plenty of judges. Okay.
Yeah, I could judge them. What about you? What would be your talent?
Oh, I think that I would not do one talent. I would try to do multiple. Like one, I would try to do comedy, and then the next episode I'd try to play the guitar, and then the next episode I'd try to write poetry on the fly, and then the final one would be just doing my podcast, baby.
You know, I think if you did the podcast live on air on their show, not only will we pick up more listeners, but they might say, hey, that guy's not so bad. He could be better if he got a different host. But let's watch him write some more poetry just to make sure, because he's got some talent there somewhere.
Well, I'm finding there's a couple things about the show that kind of threw me off and have been throwing me off for a couple years, because one of the things is the name of the show is America's Got Talent, but there's a lot of talent coming from overseas, like Russia, Africa, Germany, and they come over and they're competing in our America's Got Talent.
Yeah, don't they have this worldwide, though? I mean, if Simon Cowell's involved, that means he's probably producing this in 15 other countries.
I think so, because I've seen Asia's Got Talent, I've seen Africa's Got Talent. I mean, there's plenty of these places, these competition shows that have worldwide, fan bases. But I just find it interesting that a lot of the foreign acts are coming to the United States.
And
so that's the first thing I noticed. But the second thing that I noticed is that there's a lot of people who think they can sing.
Yeah.
Well, and singing is one of those talents that's kind of hard, because one, it's a subjective opinion, but two, the point of the show is that you give them a $1 million cash prize, or it's an annuity, but it's $1 million prize, and then they get a featured Vegas show in Vegas.
Well, let's be honest, though. Let's go back to singing for a second. Here's why most people think that they're good singers. Karaoke.
Okay, yeah, but
karaoke.
I don't know.
Drunken karaoke gives people a false sense of confidence that they can go on stage and rip that song a new one and just kill it and be the next Billy Joel.
Okay, and maybe that is it. I know that when I go to karaoke, I get a lot of people say, wow, that was really good, but I would never then equate that to, oh, okay, I've got talent to go on America's Got Talent and sing. I mean, I wouldn't do that, but a lot of people do. Yeah. Another thing about the show is there are a lot of kids that are amazing. This year they had a girl 11 years old who is an opera singer. It was the shit, dude. She was seriously legit opera singer. It was insane. I'm thinking, this girl's not even 11 years old and she's singing like that.
Yeah.
So how do these people discover that they've got these talents?
Oh, man, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. Do they still have talent shows at malls? I don't know how they do that. I don't have kids, so I don't know how to go see if your kid's talented or not. Scott,
when did you discover your talent for judging people?
Pretty early on.
Yeah, see?
I mean,
from a very early age.
A lot of people told me it was a pretty big talent to sit there as a child of, we'll say, 8 years old, and look at people in the classroom and just pinpoint what kind of person they were before I knew what kind of person that was.
And I'm sure that your parents, encouraged you to build on that talent as you got older, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean,
it's my parents' dream to know that I'm judging people left and right every time I see someone, whether I know them or not.
Right. Yeah. Now, see, I had to discover my talents later in life, because I didn't have that, because in Alaska, everything was basically sustenance and building igloos. So you really didn't have, you really didn't have an opportunity, and it's hard to build an igloo talent on America's Got Talent, because it doesn't carry over to the stage.
That is true too.
Yeah,
that is true. I guess you could make that your talent, though. I mean, if you could get the blocks of ice up there and the chainsaw, hell, it'd be kind of cool to watch.
Well, but I mean, I'm thinking, how did this 11-year-old, or when did this 11-year-old discover that, yes, I like to sing opera? 2, her parents recognized that she liked to sing opera, and then developed that skill set so that by the time she was 10, she could sing at an opera and sound like an adult female.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Singing coaches, man. I don't know. Like that's a great question to have, and I don't, like I said, I don't even know where to begin to think about. I would know. I'd have no idea to figure out where the hell you start that process. But what are some of the talents? What are some of the talents people have gotten up there? So if they're singing, what are they singing? Are they telling jokes? Dear God, do they have ventriloquists?
Oh my dude, 2 of them have won the whole thing.
Are you serious?
Terry Fader was the first victory on America's Got Talent.
The guy from Vegas?
Terry Fader, yeah.
Oh shit.
Or Terry Fader, yeah. And then a couple of years ago, a little girl like 12 years old won. Both of them have the same skill set, though. They could sing songs ventriloquisting.
Ventriloquisting?
Yeah, there we go. Ventriloquisting. They could sing songs while they ventriloquisted. There's been a couple of magicians, like hand magicians, the guys that do up close card tricks and stuff like that. One year it was a friggin' dog thing. It was like a dog show deal. I'm sorry, I'm not describing right, but basically dogs who are trained to jump through hoops and do stunts. Now, I don't know if that could be considered America's Got Talent because it's a dog show, but they won. The comedians that have not done very well. Like, we've had a couple comedians finish second. This year had a comedian that finished third, but he, I don't know what the disease was that he had, but he had that thing like the children of thalidomide, where they have the really short, like, arms and legs, and they're not fully developed.
No, I don't know what that's called.
Well, the kids of thalidomide, the kids from the 70s, where the parents were taking some sort of pill, and the moms, when they had the kids, they had no arms or really deformed arms and legs.
Nope, never heard of that.
It was in the friggin' Billy Joel song, "Children of the Thalidomide." Doo 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 doo.
No, I'm not ringing a
bell. God,
sorry, I'm more. I like Billy Joel's classic stuff, and I did use him for example earlier. I didn't really start listening to him until Stormfront back in 1988, and from the earlier stuff is pretty much just his greatest hits.
I know, but wasn't Stormfront the song that "We Didn't Start the Fire" was on?
Yeah. Oh, Children of the Limbide. Okay, yeah, I got you now. I didn't know what that was. Now I know.
Yeah, that basically in the 70s, not to get off too topic, but there was a drug that was given in Britain that was like a birth control, or it wasn't a birth control, but it was some sort of like parental. It was supposed to be like a vitamin for mothers, but it actually caused defects in the children. Well, anyways, this guy, the comedian this year, had that, and he used that talent or that disability to basically make fun of himself and finish third place.
Huh. Good for him.
Yeah, so the comedians, they don't do that well. But this year, it was insane. So this year, the winner of the show was a blind autistic kid. I say really? Kid, but he was probably like 20, 22, something like that.
Okay, well, that's a kid to us.
Yeah, he's a kid to us, right? A blind autistic kid, but was a musical savant. And basically, he played the piano and sung in a perfect pitch. So, wow. Of course, all these shows, you never know what you're going to get when you see these talents, right? You see a blind guy with his mom kind of walking him to the stage. You think, okay, what are we going to hear here? And then he sits down at the piano and starts like playing and singing, and he's amazing. Well, he won this year. He was the winning act. And I got to thinking, I said, you look at him, you say he's blind, you say he's autistic, but he could, I guess they diagnosed him as a musical savant. Are you familiar with the term savant, where the people, they have disabilities all over the place, but they can do one thing beyond compare of anybody else.
Well, I don't think, as a savant, I don't think you have other disabilities. I just think you're actually very good at things.
Oh, okay. Usually when I've heard of a savant, like Rain Man, the character was based off of a guy who was a savant in terms of he socially could not interact. He was disabled, clinically disabled, but he was amazing with numbers. and
I
could
think
do.
I think that's just autistic now. I think savant is someone who's just very good. I have to look up the definition. You might be right. I'll probably say you are right on this, but I've always thought it was someone that's just very good at, naturally good at something like, singing or just composing music. Like,
Okay,
wasn't Beethoven a musical savant?
No, I don't know if he was a musical savant. He was a musical genius, but I don't know if because usually my definition of savant would be that they cannot function normally in society, as you and I would define normal behavior, right? Well, I guess our definition of normal behavior might be kind of jacked, but you know what I mean? Like anyways, the point is like this kid, I guess, is the kind of kid that he can listen to a song one time and play it on the piano. He can listen to the words one or two times and learn the words and sing it in the right pitch.
You know what's funny? I know someone that does that too. And he's my co-host on a podcast. I've watched him do that with guitars and everything else.
Yeah. Okay. I appreciate the acknowledgement. However, I guess I do have a little bit of that. I don't know if I skill set.
Yeah.
Like I would never go on the stage and say, "Give me a song," and then start playing the song.
No. But I've watched you sit around the campfire or sit around the living room with a guitar, listening to the song and figuring out the beats and the cadences and going.
Yeah. Well, and I guess this guy, when they do the backstory of him, he knows 6 instruments. He taught himself how to tap dance. Mm-hmm. And I guess there's something in the beat and the rhythm of music and tap that he just gets, but he can't tie his own shoe.
Oh, well,
So, but now it's an amazing talent, but I think of it like, well, by our definition, he's blind and he's autistic. We would look at him as disabled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think he's disabled at all.
Yeah, good point. Like, I mean, are you disabled if you can't see and you're autistic, but you can play many instruments better than professionals who, play all the time?
Yeah, and I think that gets to be a real slippery slope of what you call, especially in today's world of, you want to be equal opportunity and you don't want to offend, but you want to, be clear on what you
well,
are.
And I think that in today's world, we are pretty cognizant of, we want to be politically correct by saying, hey, look, just because, you're not a disabled person, you're a person with a disability, right? Like the distinction is an important distinction that before, like 100 years ago, they might have put a blind autistic person in a sanitarium for the rest of their lives, right?
Yeah.
And now
that's true. Yeah.
He's winning $1 million and probably going to get, this is the kind of guy that you like. Every other thing around him, like when he's not playing the piano, you can tell he's disabled. You can tell he has a child like personality, so he kind of acts like a child. But as soon as you put him behind the piano, you could put any singer with him, and he could play and sing with them. You could record albums with the kid. So it's you just know that he's going to be able to carry that for the rest of his life and do a lot of great things, even with the disability.
No, that's just talent for the kid, though, too. That's a gift that he has, and we all have different gifts. And if he does have a disability, but that's the gift he's able to persevere with, I'd say more power to him.
I don't know, Scott, if you know anyone, but in my high school, there was a kid who was in our grade who, at the time, was not the popular kid. He was kind of bullied a little bit. He was definitely not one of the kids that ruled the school. I looked him up a couple months ago, and he's one of these guys that basically got involved with a hedge fund and now is like a multi-millionaire. And I was thinking to myself, here in high school, in that little confined environment, he was not popular. He was not cool. He was not, and now he's like a multi-millionaire. And the kids that probably bullied him are the ones that, got put in jail and, have nothing going for them in their lives. So, we never know what people can do from the first visit when you first meet someone to when they become who they were destined to be.
Well, we all take our time finding our stride. We find it in our own time. Not everybody, not everybody gets to be a hedge fund advisor. Not everybody, gets to be the quarterback homecoming king. We all have different paths we have to walk. Some people find their stride when they get on America's Got Talent, apparently, and tell jokes through a dummy's mouth.
Yeah, two of them did.
Yeah, and, good for them, man. That's more than I would do. I look at some of these. I'm a big fan of MasterChef. It's the summertime cooking show with Gordon Ramsay. I'm a huge fan of it. And I watched that show, and I thought for years, man, it'd be cool to do that. And this summer it finally hit me. It's like, no. I mean, the experience of learning from Gordon Ramsay and Aaron Sanchez and Joe Bertoliano, whatever he says his last name, would be a killer experience. But I don't want to compete under that kind of pressure. I want to be able to do my own style. I want to have my own flair. I want to learn, but I don't want the kind of pressure that you can get off winning some of those shows like that.
I think that we have to remember that in our society, you're right. The people who stand out are the ones that don't conform to what everyone else does. I think that was a great line from Steve Jobs that he was doing an interview. I don't even remember the line, but he said, the moment I realized the truth about the world was the day that I realized that the people who made the rules to try to keep me down were no smarter than I was. And you think about it, and it's like, you're right. Yeah, I don't mind learning some of the skills, but you don't want to be Gordon Ramsay. I want to be Scott Kern.
Yeah, that's it, man. I want to learn, but I want to put my own twist on it. I want to do my own thing. I don't need to be a sophisticated chef. That's not my style.
And you're right. I mean, like my mom loves a show called Beat Bobby Flay, I think it's called. Have you?
Oh, okay. I watched that a lot too.
For those of you who don't know it, Bobby Flay is a famous chef. And he has a competition show where he gets two amateur chefs, maybe not amateurs, but two chefs. They compete against each other to make a food. And then the winner of that competition then challenges Bobby Flay to make something against them. And then the judges decide if
they get to choose what their best dishes. What the thing they make best is, and they challenge Bobby Flay to see who can make it better. Which really is a dickish concept for a show if you think about it. Because Bobby Flay is a world-renowned chef. He's an Iron Chef, restaurants all over the globe, and he's taking you as also a professional chef and saying, I know you're well known for your biscuits and gravy, but I'm going to do it better than you on national TV. If you think I'm wrong, you better make sure you bring your A game. It's kind of arrogant.
Well, I think it's like anything else, though. It's one, you're getting the chance to compete against Bobby Flay, but two, it's a reflection of just how amazing Bobby Flay is. And yet, he did it his own way, right? He's not Gordon Ramsay either. So, these people that have all this talent and stuff, like you said it best. They got to find their own path. They got to get there their own way. But I think in society, it's almost like if you veer off of the path that everyone else is walking on, it's easy for them to look at you as the outsider, the outcast. Oh, you don't fit in. You're not part of what the rest of us are doing. But the reality is we need you to be out. We need those great people to be outside of what normal people do. We need.
I get it.
We need those cooks that don't cook like Gordon Ramsay or Bobby Flay. We need something different.
Well, we need trailblazers. We need people willing to do things their way to set the tone.
Very good point.
I mean, because we can't all march to the beat of the same drummer. We all have to find our own bands, and we all have to go out there and go do things our way, or find our tribe that does things the way we can identify with.
Yeah, I think it's hard though, because there's confidence in being in part of the pack. You know what I mean? Like there's confidence in being like everyone else and not being the outsider. You have to have a real inner courage and strength to be able to do that, I think. And so for people who can do it, all for them. And when this kid won, I think he was the favorite from the very beginning. Like this kid from the very beginning, they just knew that he was a special performer. And then he did other performances to lead up to the finals. And he was just by far the most talented. And I think the story of him also being blind and autistic just helped feed that, hey, this kid had every reason not to do what he did, and yet he did it anyways. And I think that people we love those kind of stories. We love the stories where, the odds are stacked against us, but we do it.
Yeah.
And, I think, Scott, you're going to run into hurdles as you form your truck, and you're going to run into things that you're going to have to overcome, but it's going to just make it all that much better. And when I'm eating off the salty walrus, game on, baby.
Well, let's not say it like that, because I referred to myself as a salty walrus earlier. So that sounds
it's not going to be like nude sushi. You're telling me?
Okay. No, I mean I can do that upon request, but
you get to choose. You get to choose the requester.
No offense, buddy. We're pretty close.
We're definitely not that close. We're definitely not that close.
I mean, but it just goes without saying that anything is possible.
That's true. That's true. Well, the talent is always out there. So if you have a great talent, exploit it, use it, do what you need to do.
Well, if you have a great talent, we want to know what that talent is. Why don't you show us? Show us a video or post a picture of you doing it, all at Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter at Liquid Carnage. If you want to talk to Tom about his talent, which is actually judging us too, if you haven't noticed, he does a very good job of judging us every week. Again, hit him up at Twitter and Instagram, all at Liquid_EP.
That was perfect, man. Gosh, 2 for you, Scotty. You know what?
I have my moments. I've got a
club because we're coming up on 2.5 years, and I've never done it right.
No, well, you tried early on, and we just haven't gotten back to getting in practice. I need to have you start doing it some more too, because you need to get on that level, and you're capable of it. You got so much talent, man. And in fact, I had this conversation with somebody last week. They asked what my hidden talents were, and I didn't know what to say. Like, honestly, I didn't know what to say. It's like, I don't know, I cook, and I can run my mouth
and judge. We learned that you can judge,
and and tonight I figured I could judge, but for the most part, I run my mouth. I run my mouth for a living. All I know how to do is run my mouth. I talk shit to people. I judge people. That's how I get them on my side, because I do it in such a way that it's endearing.
I think so. I think though that most people are very humble, and so they will downplay their talent to other people. That other people are like amazed, like, oh my gosh, Scott, you do this so well, and you're like, it's no big deal, because we want to downplay it. We don't want to like brag about ourselves.
That's true.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
Well, hell, there's an editing clip right there for your greatest hits and bloopers episode. We both had claps of thunder on our side, and we both got dropped. So if there's an editing moment right there, I literally forgot we were but I know we were talking about being humble, so I'm going to assume that I was saying, Jason, you're such a humble son of a bitch.
You did actually. That was exactly what you were about ready to say, and then the thunder stopped you.
Right?
God intervention and say,
"Don't getting that on the."
That's right.
So it's crazy. But as we close out to the show today or this week, big week. You'll be in Austin for your son-in-law's wedding.
Yes,
Ricky's getting married.
Yes,
congratulations, Ricky.
Ricky is getting married.
Then you get back. Yeah, then you get back. Then the EP and I are taking the Great American Road Trip via plane to Ohio.
Is that this weekend? Is that this upcoming weekend?
Not this weekend, but the following weekend.
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
We are going to go spread our grandparents' ashes in their hometown. So it's kind of a big deal for us to be taking this. And we're also going to catch a football game because the Cardinals are in Ohio playing the Bengals.
Oh, good.
So be looking for pictures of the adventures of the EP and I in the foreign land of Ohio.
I can't wait.
Yeah. And with that said, Jason, take us
all right. Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening. That was Scott. I am Jason. And as always, if you never know quite what to say, just have yourself some liquid carnage.